Back in January, our journey began. 4 students, one humanoid robot, and a whole lot of curiosity set out to explore how Now could fit into the complex world of healthcare. There was me and my good friends Tyler, Ben, and Brighton, and we set out to discover what this robot could do and show all of the hinfers the true meaning of Now time. Now, let's return to where it all began, the Digital Health Lab. Welcome to the final video. Welcome to our final video. We're taking a different stab at it today. It's no script, no characters. We're just gonna give you guys an explanation and take you guys on a ride through our journey and thought process through the Now robot. First, we're gonna take us back to January when we first picked Now robot. We will be honest, we didn't want the Now robot, we wanted to do VR. But alas, we got the Now robot. At first, we thought, it's a robot, cool, we can do so much with it. We had so many ideas at first for what Now could do for healthcare. We thought triage definitely, security. We had a list and so many videos planned out of what Now could do. But as we continued to do more research and look at the programming for Now, we realized that Now is very limited. Would you like to
I'll take this for points. So, the major thing that was big in my mind was its compatibility in healthcare. So it doesn't have any actual EMR, EHR compatibility, and so not being able to access those databases really limits what it can do in a healthcare space. This is extremely problematic because take the security example, right? Even then, you would need the Face ID of patients to to figure out who is allowed where, and not even being able to do that is really concerning when other ideas were things like triage nurses or people who can help with decision making. Do you want to help chip in on the coding section?
Yeah, sure. So regarding the coding, we thought that it would be quite simple, or maybe not simple, but not as difficult as it turned out to be. It uses Now. This worked pretty good because Now was able to actually incorporate the code in the choreographed programming software, which let Now do all these customized things, and using ChatGPT it made actually programming it much easier since Now uses Python version 2, so could just use the AI tools to pretty much help us with this since none of us are experts on programming, so we wouldn't have the time or knowledge to ever do this our own. But yeah, overall it was a little bit harder to program than we thought it would be. We thought we could make it do all these custom things, but in reality it just turned out to be a little bit more difficult, and we had a harder time than we thought we would actually doing the things that we wanted to get Now to do.
Something I would also like to point out as well is just it probably would have been helpful to have some documentation on some of Now's methods, but that was extremely hard to find. Do we ever actually find it?
There's some documentation on Now and all this stuff, but it's really limited. It's not like a lot of other technologies where there's so much documentation and tutorials out there. With Now, there was a very limited amount of resources to find this stuff, so it was quite hard to really get on the learning curve and stuff and get this all rolling, because the first, I think it took us 2 hours just to figure out how to connect Now to the software, since even that's not available online easily, right? It's hard to find that.
I think if Now Robotics or the group behind them came out with just some basic tutorial videos, just found on YouTube or something, and had them a bit more accessible, that would probably accelerate people's understanding.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
When deciding what to do videos on for Now, if you guys have watched our 4-piece saga of Now, you would notice that our first part is a bit of a commercial. But if you did notice, it is very satire. we made that video to represent our hopes and dreams of Now at the start. Because we believed Now could do so many more things until we realized it couldn't. Like in the video, we had said it could be used for like surgery, triage, security, all that fun stuff. Because we wanted to give you guys a deeper insight of what we thought Now could be. That also relates to the second video where we have Now for triage actually. And as we did more research into Now with like the programming, we realized Now couldn't be really used for triage because since Now is limited by its programming, it needs like direct inputs that are very structured, and if it like goes off by that at all, like our biggest example was most people say like O for 0, and when our patient was saying that off his BC Healthcare card, like Now couldn't recognize that and then failed the whole like triage process. So that continued to like, so the first two videos, like commercial being like very satire, and then the second one, triage, showing what we thought Now could do but couldn't do it. Those both lead into the second, third, and fourth video where we explore scenarios where we think Now could thrive, which is speech therapy and pediatrics. For those two things, we found that you can make code for like certain scenarios where Now will hear something and he will respond accordingly. Like that worked for, it's like, hey Now, can you say, like, help me say cat? He'll go, cool, let me break it down for you and say cat. We just found like it's a lot more structured environment than triage where it's a limited number of possibilities with sick people that could phrase the questions and their answers differently that Now couldn't handle. So that's where like the whole videos came through, because like we do believe Now does have a future in pediatrics and speech therapy. We think like the programming needs to be a bit easier to understand. We did find that like doing it sometimes was very delayed. Like sometimes it was like 10 seconds to like for Now to like answer. That's why we did shift to more like we filmed all of Now's lines separately just for the video for an easier watching experience. But at that time, Now did succeed in those fields. You want to add anything?
I think that's pretty good.
Anyway, we're going to talk about the story. The story was not a clear line. It had lots of branches. We originally filmed an original video, but that whole video got scrapped. It was, looking back, really bad. We might post it as a blooper or anything, but we definitely had to move on from that video after we looked more at Now as entirely.
Yeah.
And also, we had a lot more ideas for Now. I wanted to make a whole video of like a Now House MD parody, but all those like extra ideas just didn't make sense for Now because Now could never really do that. Right, Tyler?
Yeah, a lot of the videos that we made portrayed Now as sort of this like random miracle robot that was coming in to save healthcare and was looking almost like this like AI or like even human entity that would go and solve all these complicated problems and fix everything. When in reality that's just not a realistic look at things. And we kind of felt that if we portrayed Now in this way that it just wouldn't really be a good portrayal of the robot for what it can actually do. So we ended up pretty much, as Brendan said, scrapping the whole first video as it didn't make sense anymore, and kind of rewriting all our scripts and everything so that it matched more of a reality use case for Now. And you can kind of see this with how our videos took place, where the first video kind of represents like, you know, this naive look at Now, and that's pretty much how we, you know, thought of Now when we first started, and then the rest of the videos are more of like a reality check for us.